You are in charge of monitoring this stimulus, $800 billion stimulus. 100 days after it was signed, the president said 150,000 jobs have been created or saved. Can you explain where that number comes from?
Yes, look, there's an econometric model that economists have been using for decades to correlate the economic circumstances of the nation with the creation of jobs. It is a model no one has questioned. It's a model the Council of Economic Advisors used to come up with that 150,000 jobs. But in fact, and by the way, I think we're going to create another 600,000 jobs in the next 100 days because now this thing is beginning to roll out. We actually have let these contracts, the governors who have money for road contracts and so on, they're now just putting spades in the ground, just hiring people. And so I don't know anybody who's argued with the model that we've used. But the key here for us is not whether or not we're going to argue about how many jobs there are out there. It's whether or not are we in fact producing employment for people. And it's undeniable.
That's an important point. You say people aren't arguing about that. In fact, they are. I mean, you're suggesting that this is an accepted model. Your own economic advisor said this on Tuesday. Jared Bernstein, Biden's economic advisor, said in an interview that the president's citation of saving or creating 150,000 jobs is an estimate based partly on what the economy would look like in the absence of the stimulus package. But Bernstein said he could not break down how many of those jobs were created versus saved. That's a division we're not able to make at a level of accuracy we're comfortable with, he said. And now you're talking about another 600,000 jobs. Should America just accept that level of progress?
No, they shouldn't. Well, look, whether this was 147,000 jobs or 158,000 jobs is not the relevant point. Look, let me put it this way. Prior to us taking office, the job loss for the month was over 700,000 jobs. It's been over 600,000. Since we've taken office, the job loss has dropped now to 343,000 jobs, below other people's estimates, below the consensus estimate. Can I claim credit that all of that's due to the recovery package? No, but it clearly has had an impact.
But the point of the stimulus was it would stop the unemployment picture from getting worse, right? Wasn't that the claim?
And it has.
It has? Well,
it's not getting worse.
But here's the reality, and that is that when this report was issued by your economic advisor and Dr. Romer from the White House, the assertion was that you could keep unemployment at 8% and then it would go down after that. In fact, it's now at 9.4%. Was it oversold?
No. What we did is we took the econometric models that were used by businesses as well as academics at the time. No one realized how bad the economy was. The projections, in fact, turned out to be worse. But it was we took the mainstream model as to what we thought and everyone else thought the unemployment rate would be. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think anyone can dispute the unemployment rate would be considerably higher but for, at least 150,000 jobs higher, but for this economic stimulus package.
But this package was sold on the premise that it would in fact keep unemployment at 8%. It's exceeded that with the recovery plan.
No, it wasn't sold on that. It was sold on it would create.
That's what the report said.
No, it said it would create. What would happen was it would save or create jobs. It's doing that. It is doing that. Everyone guessed wrong at the time the estimate was made about what the state of the economy was at the moment this was passed. Now, we're going to recalibrate this in terms of what we've inherited, what, in fact, is going on out there. But look, the bottom line is that jobs are being created that would not have been there before. All you've got to do is go into New York City. There's 14,000 teachers working who got their notices. Go with me up to New Flyer Bus Company up in Minnesota. It's throughout the country.
Regardless, though, the economy is worse off with or without this stimulus plan than this administration expected.
The economy was worse off when we made the assessment than anyone thought it was. The economy is actually getting better. Things are getting better. We have a long, long way to go. But now you see what's happening. We're having a situation where housing is starting to improve, where lending is starting to come forward, where we have a situation where we've gained some control of the automobile companies who otherwise would have had to been liquidated in terms of them staying in business and having a prospect of growing. So I think if you ask out there and look at what the these measures of confidence in the economy are, everyone feels mildly better about where the economy is going.
One more point about the stimulus, and that is, you said when this thing was being debated, most of it would get out the door right away, $800 billion. And yet just this week, there were reports about the fact that only 6% of that money has been spent so far.
No, I don't know
Where
who said we're going to
projects?
get out $800 billion out the door in 100 days. We have over 2,000 projects approved. We have now a situation where you have people, you're going to see in the next, this is an important point. You let a contract to build a highway. It's $42 million, like I did one in the state of Kansas. $42 million. Now what's happened? The governor gets that approval. What's he do? He puts it out to bid, competitive bid. It took somewhere between a month and 3 months to get those bids back. Now the spades are in the ground. Now it's working. That's why we're confidently going to predict that we will increase fourfold and now $140 billion has been obligated now. But obligation requires then the states to go forward and get the contracting done according to the rules that they have within the state for competitive bidding.